Alright, so I wanted to make a video that just kind of help out understanding Liliya and how she works. Between Discord, Reddit, and the people I played with online, seen a lot of confusion around how she works, and then I've seen, just more information going around that isn't quite right, or just wasn't consistent, and I was confused, and I've always been interested in like finding out how they work. And usually, I mean, the prime assets and the Outlast trials, all they've got some differences and whatnot, but there's not. It's mostly cat and mouse. It's pretty straightforward. There's some, Franco can attack you from range. Probably should have stopped at a heater. Franco can attack you from range. The Cresses can see in 360 degrees, stuff like that. Liliya here is a little more stealthy. So I've seen some common misconceptions with several things about the way she works, and people say, she doesn't make footsteps. That's, I believe, an intentional decision. She does make a different noise. She makes she's got like finger blades, and it sounds like she's scraping them together, like knives scraping together is a good indication that she's moving. It is much more of a faint noise compared to, the loud stomping footsteps we're used to hearing. But if you listen closely, you can hear her when she's moving. I believe the little whispers you hear just kind of come from everywhere. I believe they come from all the mannequins. I haven't found any connection to the way that she whispers and if she's close, other than when it gets like doubled up, and that means she's quite literally on top of you. So that's a good indicator that she's nearby, I guess. There's also a few ways you can identify her, even when she's posing as a mannequin. One of the ways is all the mannequins have jewels on them around their neck. That's part of, collecting them as part of the first objective. And when you're going around, you can see them on all the mannequins, and she's got one as well. But you can see that they the ones on the mannequins that are the ones you want to interact with, they kind of shimmer. I don't think they do it right now. I think you have to wait until the objective starts. Yeah. But the ones on the mannequins that are not her, they kind of shimmer like a typical interactable item would, and the ones that she if she is posing as a mannequin, hers won't shimmer. So that's a good indication from a distance, since under certain circumstances that's great to use to identify her if she's in another room. But I'll go ahead and wait a little bit so she can do her thing. But no, she doesn't. I think she's great. She's a fun, entertaining character, but she does have different rules overall that, outside of just the way she works when she's roaming. But anyways, the gems around the necks of them, you can kind of see that they have that shimmer. If she is posing as a mannequin, hers won't shimmer. So that's a good identifier to whether or not she's posing as the one you're looking at. But a far more effective method of identifying her is via the jammer. The jammer is capable of picking her out in a crowd when she's posing amongst others or just posing on her own. When you point the jammer at her, you don't even have to use it, but the jammer will light up as if she's a hackable object, as long as you have it upgraded to where you can hack enemies. So that's the primary way that I've been using to identify her when doing this testing. And essentially what it was is I just got curious. So last night I just kind of loaded into the map on normal difficulty like I am now, just so I can kind of try and get an idea of how she works. That's not her. I'm also going to try and get all these batteries real quick, because the best place to test her is upstairs. But no, so one of the common misconceptions I've seen, and I've seen more people asking the question because it's true, but more people are just going with their gut on it because of the rules of other prime assets. But she actually breaks a lot of rules. So, first off, when she is, like I said, when she's roaming around the map as a standard prime asset, oh, there she is right there. She doesn't, she can't do anything special. But when she's in this state, she gets a lot of buffs, like the fact that she can see in the dark. So I'm in complete darkness. She's going to come check right where I'm standing here in a second. There she goes. But no, when she's in her mannequin state, she actually gets a pretty big buff and a pretty big like downside to it. But that being, when she's in that state, she can see in 360 degrees, and she can see very far, and she can see into and in complete darkness, even if you make no noise or anything. But there's one funny little caveat to this rule, and that is it's not through a doorway. If you have a doorway, so if you're in another room and you spot her, so in this case, like if you spot her with this, you're like, there she is, you can do whatever you want right here. She's not gonna do anything. And this even extends to noise. You can run all in here and make all kinds of noise. If I had a bottle, I could throw it. I could even throw the bottle into that room, and she wouldn't do anything. The only noise that I've seen to be able to make her break that stance with at any distance is the generators or the cranks at the end. So those two things she seems to trump her stance phase. So another thing to keep in mind is she has like a cooldown or a tolerance or a timer or something. So if she does see you while she's in her mannequin state, the only time she'll break it immediately is if you're right up in her business. If you're not right up in her business, she'll either start her timer or her tolerance, so how long she's looking. I don't know how it works, but she'll wait. I think it's a timer is what I think it is. So she'll wait for her timer to run out, and then she will go to check where she last saw or heard you. So I did say that she doesn't respond to noise, but there's one rule to that. She will respond to noise after she has seen you. So if I step into the light here where she can see me, despite the fact that her back is turned, she is going to see me. Oh wait, no, she's going to move. So there's something else. She'll occasionally move and go to a new spot. Okay. Back in the hallway. Oh, I thought she was going to pose in here. That would have been great. Oh no, she's going right there. She probably just saw me. That's something else I've been trying to test some more, is how well she can see you while she's doing her transition into the posing state. And she seems to get this like omnipotent seeing pretty. Yeah, she saw me while she's doing that. She's going to check where I was, and then she's going to be unsuccessful and go find another place to hide. Oh, this is a good spot. So, yet again, I'm in another room through a doorway. It's not going to work. But no, she's got like a cooldown. So I'm going to step into the light, and she's not going to do anything. I'm going to back up. And she may even act like she's still looking. Yeah, she'll still do that. But her cooldown's like ticking down until it runs out, and then she's going to run to where she last saw me and check for me. Next, I'll kind of demonstrate the noise thing if I can. I think I'll just do it with sprinting. But she's going to check. She didn't find me.
My flesh will rest in awe.
So we're going to do it again. She's going to pose. I'm going to give her a little peek. Hey, what's up? And then I'm going to sprint. I'm going to hit these cans. And she's now going to instead go to where she last heard me. This even counts if she sees you in the dark. She's going to go to where she last saw or heard you as long as she's seen you first. That's the funny thing. She won't react to sound unless she's seen you first. So she went to check the cans where I was. Real quick, let me see. Did I get the battery in here? There is no battery in here, is there? It's in the hallway. Maybe. Yeah, so I can do this real quick because she won't react right away. Something else you can do, you can kind of take advantage of the fact that she doesn't react right away, and you can do stuff right in front of her. And that's actually pretty helpful at times. And then you can kind of count on her to go check on that. She might be instead resetting her cooldown and seeing me way over here, because she can see pretty far too. There it is. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna go grab the owl key, and we're gonna take her upstairs where it's easier to get her in an environment where both where I am and she is in complete darkness, so we can further kind of go over this. I'm not going to focus on the jewels or anything. So we'll get her to come over here. Something I did find out recently is she does use insertion gates to get around the map, but when she comes out of them, they do not sound an alarm. Here in a second, we're going to hear an alarm for the grunt, but there should also be an opening insertion gate to let her out. Seen her come out of this one? Nope, she's already here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find her, and we'll go ahead and put on display how well she can see in the dark. The same room rule also is a little strange. That should be the large grab. So I did testing with her on 2 different windows. On one window, I stood right outside of it and did all kinds of funny stuff and made a bunch of noise, and she didn't care. However, when I stood outside of another window and did the same thing in a separate room, she did care and came after me. So when it comes to windows, I'm not sure. It may be a case-by-case scenario. But she once did respond to me through a window, and then another time did not, no matter what I tried to do. However, every doorway I've used to mess with her, she has always not been able to see through the doorway, whether it was open, whether it was blocked, whether it was torn down, whatever. Right now, I'm just trying to find her. There might be in here too. I heard her, so I know she's around here somewhere. She usually doesn't like to hide in the side rooms over here, so I wasn't really checking in here, because I've never seen her come back here. But that doesn't mean she doesn't.
Keep you in, they're here to keep the world out.
I think she's somewhere else in here. She's in the next area. Usually tries to be in the same room or area-ish as you. At all times. So you can never get too far from her without her wanting to come join you. But I am kind of surprised I haven't seen her. Oh, there she is. That was close. But anyways, let's follow her. And this will be to primarily show that, yes, she can see even in complete darkness when you make no noise. Oh, is she gonna go pose in that room back there? Oh, fuck.
Say everything you are. You will have chance a mother.
Well, that's her right there. Yeah, so she sees me right now, despite this being darkness. She might have seen. I don't know if I stepped far enough into that room. We'll wait and check real quick. Further test the door theory. But even in this complete darkness, you can move as quiet as you want. You can never stand, and you can only crouch, and she will see you still. So I'm going to test this real quick. I'm going to step into the doorway, and then she is going to see me. And then I'm going to step out, and once her tolerance is up, she is going to come and check the doorway.
These are only the best plans, man.
So I think this is why she's catching a lot of people off guard, is because we're working with the idea that she's not seeing in the dark. Now, while she's in this state, she won't. I could walk right in front of her while she's walking around like this, and she won't be able to see you unless you get really close like other Prime assets. What's funny is now she's using these rooms, and I've never seen her use them. But right here, I'm going to sit here. And even in complete darkness, if you sit completely still in complete darkness and make no noise, she will even immediately begin to give chase if you don't move. Like I said, usually if you break line of sight, she'll go to where you last were. But here in a second, she's going to chase me.
These will burn in hell forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
So this will help you kind of play around her a little bit more and better understand how she works. I did post about this on the Reddit, but I saw that some people DM me telling me, no, she can't see in the dark. And she absolutely can. So just as a way to learn to better play against her and play with her, here you go. She can definitely see in the dark. And here I'll use the sound thing again. I'll make some noise, and she will now come visit where she last heard me, because she has seen me. But yeah, like I said, I don't know about the door and window thing. Like I said, some windows she couldn't see me, and right there she gave away the cue that she heard me, that noise that played. But that noise won't play if she notices you in mannequin form. So she is definitely sneaky, and she's a lot more fun to play with. So I'm glad that Red Barrels are giving the AI a little bit more ways to play with us. At first I thought she was not more than a glorified pouncer, but I actually think she's quite a bit of fun. In multiplayer, I've had to essentially, we've always had to have one person like dedicated to keeping an eye on her, and this is why. She'll silently move through insertion gates across the map rather quickly. Her lore even states, some of the notes on her state that she's almost omnipotent as to the whereabouts of the reagents, so this might be another thing that kind of alludes to that. Of course, if patches happen, this behavior could change, but currently, this is the way she works. So, she also seems to have, she doesn't seem to move much faster than the other prime assets. She might even be slower when giving chase, but I do believe she has more stamina, which means that she's capable of moving at her top speed a little longer than the others. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it does seem that way. Of course, she's still lost by just running through doors and being quiet. So, but if you have any theories or any ideas about something that may contradict what I said, let me know. I'm just really interested in the way she works. So, either way, the more you know. Thanks for watching.